I had no idea what self-love is until I became chronically anxious. Before, I thought self-love was treating myself and pampering myself. Anxiety taught me that self-love is like being in a relationship with yourself. And like all relationships, self-love requires acceptance, support, and consistency. In this video, I'm going to talk about how anxiety taught me to accept myself, show up for myself, and to consistently nurture my relationship with myself. I created an online course that includes everything that anxiety taught me. It's called Yin Yang Elemental Wisdom for Anxiety Relief. The link is in the description below, and you can access it for free with a 7-day trial on Insight Timer. So first, let's talk about acceptance. Anxiety taught me that self-love means to accept yourself. Before I became chronically anxious, I really struggled to accept the different versions of myself. I didn't accept myself at my worst. I only accepted myself at my best. And looking back, I can see that this was a form of self-abandonment, because I would really abandon myself when I needed myself the most. And I especially rejected and criticized the anxious version of me. I didn't want to acknowledge my anxiety. I didn't want to accept that I'm prone to anxiety because I associated anxiety with weakness and shame. I mentioned this in my previous video, but accepting my anxiety marked a turning point for me because this is when I stopped fighting my anxiety and ultimately stopped fighting myself. Anxiety taught me that I can't love myself while rejecting certain parts of myself. And unconditional self-acceptance is an ongoing practice for me because sometimes it's difficult to accept ourselves. But this is the practice. I catch myself and I remind myself that regardless, I need to practice accepting myself. And I think that this is a really valuable practice because personally, I think that the only person that can love and accept me unconditionally is myself. When it feels like me against the world, I at least have myself. I can choose to accept myself when it feels like no one else does. And I think that is the power of self-love and the reason why people who truly love themselves seem so centered, because they're able to accept and validate themselves from within. So they don't have to go looking outside of themselves. So for me, self-acceptance is changing my habit of self-abandonment. It's consistently choosing myself in moments when I feel like I shouldn't be chosen. It's forgiving myself. It's validating myself. When I used to judge myself for being anxious, I felt like I didn't deserve self-acceptance, which is why I chose self-abandonment. But now that I've been practicing consistently choosing myself and accepting myself, I can confidently say that it really makes a difference and it really nurtures more self-love. The second thing that anxiety taught me is to show up for yourself. Showing up for yourself means to be there for yourself when you need it. So in the process of learning to self-soothe my anxiety, I had to learn how to show up for myself. And I showed up for myself by practicing self-compassion. So every time I felt anxious, no matter where I was, whether I was walking in the park, whether I was on the subway, I would stop, place my hands on my body, and tell myself that I'm safe, that I'm here for myself, that I'm listening. And I did this countless times a day, regardless of where I was, who I was with. I did it. I showed up for myself because I was dedicated to soothing my anxiety. If you want to know more about compassionate self-talk, you can check out this video here. So practicing self-compassion taught me what I need to feel supported, and it also taught me that I can still support myself when I'm feeling low. Because before, I never thought to be supportive and kind to myself when I wasn't feeling my best. But I learned that I need my support the most when I'm feeling anxious, and that it's the most meaningful in moments when I'm feeling alone and afraid. Constantly showing up for myself made a huge difference to my relationship with myself. What it did is it taught me that I can trust myself and that I can depend on myself. And this is so important because it creates a safe and secure environment within yourself. It builds this confidence that no matter what happens, you're always there for yourself. You have your own support, even if no one else will support you. And when we think about love, as in romantic relationships with another person, I think we seek that kind of unconditional support. But we can give ourselves that support that we need, and we can show up for ourselves when no one else does. And last but not least, anxiety taught me that self-love is about consistency. All relationships require consistent care, effort, and attention, and it's the same with self-love. I used to mistake self-love as a special event, something that I do for myself every now and then, but anxiety taught me that actually self-love requires small daily acts. What consistency looks like for me today is observing my mind and body throughout the day. What I'm doing is checking in to see how I'm feeling, listening to what I need, and responding with kindness. Sometimes we're so busy and caught up in our lives that we don't pause to check in with ourselves. We don't know how we're feeling, and we're not aware of what we need. Or sometimes we are, but we don't allow it. And for me, responding with kindness means to at least acknowledge what you need and to meet your needs in the best way that you can, given the time and space that's available to you. So maybe you're feeling really overwhelmed and you need a break, but you don't have the time for it. In those moments, responding with kindness is allowing yourself a minute or two to step outside. It's doing what you can to meet yourself where you are and to honor what you're feeling and what you're needing. And I think that it's these small, consistent acts of love that really nurture your relationship with yourself. Self-love hasn't always come naturally to me, and it's something that I've had to learn and something that I have to continue practicing. Practicing acceptance, support, and consistency helps me to keep loving myself, especially in moments when I forget to. If you're like me, self-love is something that we need to cultivate over time through repetition and dedication. But I think it's worth committing to self-love because anxiety has taught me that the most important relationship is your relationship with yourself.